Did you know you can use an infrared obstacle avoidance sensor to trigger your WLED projects and even make a carnival style game? I'm going to show you how. So let's go through the equipment you're going to require. First and foremost, an infrared obstacle avoidance sensor. These are available on Amazon all day long. Look at this one here, only £10 for 20 of them. These are great for your projects. Simple, easy, super cheap. Okay. Then you're going to need an LED matrix. Again, here's one on Amazon. It's a 16 by 16. You could go for the 8 by 8 if you wanted to, or even 8 by 32. Don't think it really works for the numbers so well, but either of these two have worked. I went for the 16 by 16. But I recommend going on AliExpress, buying the same board for £2. Buy a few of them, chuck them in your cupboard, use them for the next project. And then you need a dev board. I've done a video on what's the best boards. These are also cheap and user-friendly. Great board. You get 2 for 15 or £16, so a great deal. Okay, let's set up the configuration. So, first of all, let's configure the LEDs. Whenever I do LEDs, make sure you set up the limiting on pre-output. This stops your board from burning out. Then I'm set 256 LEDs, 16 times 16 gives me that. And this is the pin I'm using. The button I'm using, I'm going to connect to pin 19. And I have to set this to push button, not this PIR sensor. That's one of those a day-night, those motion sensors, and it doesn't work as well. I tried it prior to doing this project, and I found these to be way more reliable. Those things pick up light and just trigger for no reason. Okay, so you've set up your LEDs. Now we're going to make sure your matrix is working. Go to configuration. I'm using a 16 by 16. So I go into LED configuration. You have to go from 2D to matrix. It's one panel. Bottom right, this can change, but usually that's fine. You can just turn the board vertical or horizontal. Again, you can just turn the board. Make sure this is ticked, but it's not always required. And 16 by 16. It'll generate this visualization for you, which is what you'll have. And you press save and you're out of there. I've already set up all these things, so it's all working. That allows you to have the scrolling text function. If you don't set up the LED matrix, you don't get the scrolling text function, and then you can't do this. Okay, so the button's been set up. Let's just show you how to wire the button. Okay, so I've done a little diagram here. Obviously, this is your sensor. As normal, you would connect your ground to your ground, and you connect your output to whatever pin you want to receive the signal. The only difference here is you need to connect this to 3.3 volts, not 5 volts. Reason being is this signal's going in and then coming out, and it's not good for your board if it's at high voltage. These boards run on 3.3 volts, okay? I know you put 5 volt in, but they got a little chip that converts it down. Okay, so that's the most important part about this. Make sure you've got 3.3 volts, and then everything will work fine. Okay, let's look at the next step, the presets. So how we do this is we set up a preset that has the number saved in it. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4. You could see when I was going through those numbers. How do we set those up? Okay, so you go to the scrolling text function, and I'm going to do a new one for you. I'll go all the way to the bottom. Yeah, I've got them all the way to 31 already. So you go to the scrolling text function. Okay, I'm going to press say 31. I like to do that just so I remember where I am. You go over here to the segment. You rename this segment. So I'm going to call this 32. You press the tick button, so it keeps it, right? And then you create that as a new preset. What's very important is to make sure your number stays the same. Now, I'm going to number that as well, just so that I know what I've got. Make sure this is your standard, but make sure this is set so it'll remember the colors and brightness and so on, and you press save. Now I've got a new preset, 32, and it's in the order. Now obviously if you've got a clean board and you don't have anything saved on, you could start all the way from 1 and go on, but I started at 5, so that's just the way it worked out for me. The trick is how do you play all of these in a consistent order and trigger them correctly? Well, this is how you do it. I've set up another preset, so a new preset, and I've called it numbers because that's what they are. And if I open that up, you can see this bit of code that you can use. That's the only bit of coding you need. You just copy and paste this in. And what I will then do is, you see, the last preset I had was number 35 because it went to 31. And I will just now update this to 36. And I press save. Now I will copy that code in the description at the bottom. You just copy it straight in there and adjust where you put in your starting preset to your ending preset. So I started on 5 and I ended on 36. Okay, so once you've set that up, that preset there is number 4. Now that's very important. Remember that. So you go to configurations. And now you got to go to time and macros, and you scroll down. And we were using button assigned to pin 19, and I just put that preset there, number 4. I put in all of these just because of the nature of this game where the sensor breaks. If you break it too fast or too slow, you still want it to trigger. You don't want it to be a long or a short. So this is a short press. So if you swiped across, or a long press, or it was a slow strike across it, or even double press, you did it twice very quickly. I put all 4 in all that so that no matter what you do, the signal will get is it'll always go to preset 4, and preset 4 will trigger those in order. You go back, and there you go. So now it takes a little time, I won't lie. It takes a bit of time to sit here and program one, save it, preset, make sure they're in the right order, make sure your numbers are correct. It does take a bit of time. Let me know if you want me to send you those presets. I can upload the preset and you guys can just download it, and then it'll save you a bit of time. You can have some text prior to that. So I had the word ping pong because I made a ping pong game. So it starts with ping pong, but the minute the ball breaks the signal, then it just goes 1, 2, 3 and keeps going. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll see if I can solve your problems. Subscribe for a video where I'm going to do a complete build out of a carnival style game using this technology and this obstacle avoidance sensor. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.